Hi Video Fitness Coach members, this is Anita Stone with VideoFitnessCoach.com. Thanks for enrolling in 15 Weeks to Fitness. We're starting out our 15 weeks with Lesson 1 today. Do you love yourself enough to devote 15 weeks to your health this year? Of course you do, and I'm going to help you do it. The first thing we're going to start with this week is a food diary. Now, what I want you to do is this. I want you to get a nice notebook that's a spiral and it's at least this size. I know they've got pretty little books like this at the store and they have nice hard covers, which is great. But this page just isn't big enough for writing down your food for the day. And I don't want you to have 2 pages for each day. The benefit of using an 8.5 by 11 notebook is this. You have plenty of room to write down your food, and you have plenty of room to write down your 3 columns that you'll be writing down, which I'll get to in just a minute, next to your food items. I want you to keep all of your food on one page for the day. And the reason is because many times people will eat about 3 or 4 days of food choices, of menu items, and then they end up repeating those 3 or 4 days again. Some people only have such a limited variety of foods that they only eat 2 or 3 days of varieties of foods. Now you might be one of those people who will go 7 days before you eat spaghetti again, or tacos, or pizza, or whatever. But there are a lot of people who have very few food choices and they end up repeating their foods over and over. That's why thin people stay thin and fat people stay fat. I'd like to encourage you, if you're one of those people, to start expanding your food choices so that you aren't repeating the same foods every 2 or 3 days. Now, when you go get a notebook like this for your food diary, this is just a cheap one. I'm sure you have these in your house. I buy these for my kids for school, and these are very inexpensive, and you can use one of these. But you know what? If you'll go to the dollar store or Dollar General or Walmart or something like that, and if you'll buy a spiral like this that has a nice hard plastic cover, this notebook will keep better for you because you're going to be using it a lot. And if you have a nice hard cover, then it just makes it easier to pick up and open up and close and use. Now I know this isn't small enough to just tuck in your purse and take with you, but I do want you to get in the habit of keeping this notebook close to you for the first 7 days. Now this is your assignment only for the first 7 days, okay? And this is actually quite difficult to do, but I know you can do it. It's easy to say, but it's more difficult to do. Now, when you start writing down your foods, you're going to write down everything you eat for breakfast, including coffee, everything, a piece of candy, everything you eat. Now, if you eat something like a very, very low-calorie food item like lettuce, okay? I think 2 cups of lettuce or 3 cups of lettuce is 20 calories. You don't even have to write that down, okay? But everything else gets written down. Then, the next thing I want you to do is make a column that says calories. And you're going to write down the calories of every food you eat that day. Then you're going to make a second column. I told you we were going to have 3 columns. The second column will be fat grams. The third column will be protein grams. And your goal is to write down everything you eat that day, add up all of the columns at the end of each day. Now, what are you going to eat, you ask? Well, I have good news for you. You're going to eat anything you want, okay? Anything you want to, you can eat this week. The only requirement is that you have to write it down in your food journal, okay? Anything you want. And you know what? I'll tell you a little subconscious trick here. Just the fact that you're writing down your food will make you eat less. I promise it works. It just does. I don't know how, but it does. So you're going to write down all of your food for day 1. Now, I don't want you to use the backs of the pages. There's a reason for this. I only want you to use the front of the page. On the back of the page, I want you to write down, if you need to, you don't have to do this, but let's say you had a little tip or a trick, or you read something online that made your made doing that day a little bit easier, something that you did that day. I want you to write it down on the back of the page, and so that you'll keep some of your little tips and tricks there. Maybe you created a new recipe that you just made up yourself and you want to remember how to do it. Okay, so you'll write that on the back. Now, if you have nothing written on the back of your page at the end of the day, then I want you, or even if you do have something written on the back of your page, I want you to turn your page over at the end of the day and write a positive statement. Okay, I want you to write something like, I did well today. I did the best I could today. I always eat healthy and I'm on the road to losing 20 pounds, or whatever your goal might be. But I want you to write a positive statement. And then the next day, you'll start a new page for day 2. So this is your responsibility for this week, is to go out and get your notebook, open it up, and if you want to make your notebook fancy, buy some stickers at the dollar store while you're there, and have your kids put some stickers on the front for you, okay? So you'll make your notebook this week, and for 7 days, you will keep your entire food journal, okay? And then we'll add it up at the bottom of all of your columns. We'll add it up at the end of every day, and I will send you another video at the end of this week that tells you what your food totals should be, okay? Now, we know for women that we need to keep our calories between 12 and 1,800 calories per day. Generally, if you're average height and you're not too tall, you're going to need to stay around 12 to 1,400 calories a day. Some women who are short need to stay between 1,000 and 1,200. So when I say eat anything you want, that doesn't mean eat everything you want, okay? But we're going to eat anything that we want as long as we write it down. Okay, I hope that gets you started, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about how to take this food journal further, and so that you're going to take the next step, the next step, and the next step towards success in your weight loss efforts and on the road and on the journey to better health. Thanks for joining me, and please go to my blog at timetogetfit.blogspot.com for lots of informative articles on fitness and health. If you want recipes, you can go to my recipe blog at timetogetfitrecipes.blogspot.com, and maybe that'll give you some ideas for your notebook for this week. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.